Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Afterglow. I'm so excited about today's guest. She is one of my favorite beauty creators. I mean, she's so iconic, and it's been so incredible watching her growth. So I am excited to introduce you to Tati Westbrook. I have followed Tati's story ever since her early days on YouTube when she was doing these get ready with me's. I remember her favorites. She was so iconic. So we got a chance to sit down and talk in February of 2024 about her behind the scenes, her work, and also what's been going on with her life. So it's been a while since we filmed this episode, and I'm pretty sure she has tons of updates now, but nonetheless, I'm super excited to have her as my first ever guest on Afterglow. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. I'm so excited that you're here. And I'm really honored because this is my first time going into a podcast. And I know this is a big deal for you because you've been invited onto so many other podcasts. And when we reached out and you just said yes, it was such a huge honor for me.
I'm the one honored. This is amazing. And yeah, this is a huge first. I have never done this.
I know. This is so fun. I remember watching you throughout my entire career, actually, because I just saw that you were just someone who was so articulate, so elegant, really great at doing reviews, and just this trusted source. And I'd love to know, before all the glitz and glamour of YouTube, what were you doing before?
Before YouTube?
Yeah, before all this.
No, I was always in love with makeup from the time I was small. My whole story is that I was giving my sisters, who I have three, I have three sisters. I was giving them makeovers and wanting to be a makeup artist and wanting to be in performance. I was a
Love
singer,
that.
actress. And so everything was about just getting ready to perform and just the glamour of it all. So I grew up always wanting to do something with makeup. I didn't know exactly what. So before YouTube came along, I had worked at makeup counters. I had tried to do freelancing as best I could.
Wait, which makeup counter did you work at?
I worked at Bare Minerals.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember that whole era of Bare Minerals.
Yeah, I got to do makeovers on people every day.
Wow.
And
That was your training ground.
that was my training ground because I couldn't afford makeup school. So I learned a lot working there, and I was able to do some wedding makeup and kind of get my foot in the door. But the reality is I struggled a ton in my early 20s. So I had a lot of odd jobs. I wanted to be a makeup artist. I wanted to be professional and work in film and television. That was a huge goal of mine. But I had a really rough go of it in my early 20s.
No way. What happened?
So I've never, this is the part where I'm like, okay, am I really opening up about this for the very first time in a public way? But when I was 26, I was not in a good place. I'd lost my job. My fiance had left me. I was living with my mom in her studio apartment. Life sucked.
Wow.
Life was not fun. And I was partying way too much. I was super depressed.
Was partying a way for you to escape all of that, or?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Every feeling inside of me. And it's so weird. I've wanted to share this story for so long. But when I was 26, I overdosed. And it was really, it was a moment in my life where I was just, in my mind, done with life. So it was 2 nights in a row. I went to the hospital the first night, came home, did it again the next night, survived, and decided to get help. So I knew at that point, I was like, wow, something's keeping me here on earth. I'm meant to be here. So I checked myself into rehab. And in my free time at rehab, I found beauty videos on YouTube. Your videos.
Oh my gosh. You're going to make me cry,
Yeah.
Tati.
So this is
Oh my
a very
gosh.
shake full circle moment. And I've wanted to share this story, but obviously there's been a lot of chaos
Yeah.
through my career. And it never felt like the right time to just be like, hey guys, this is the real reason that I started this adventure. And I want to share with you that if you don't give up and you keep going, great things can happen, because I've been there. I've been in that place where it's so dark that you can't even handle breathing in and out. And you think there's no hope for your life. And I didn't have an education. I didn't have money. I didn't have people around me. I felt at that time that 26 was super old, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Quarter century or something crisis,
Yes.
right? Quarter life crisis.
Like, I should be married and I should have a family by now. And like all my friends are doing that. And I have no career and nothing. And I'm partying and taking things to extreme. And it wasn't working. And I didn't see anything ever working. So when I hit that rock bottom, it was hard. And it has been a huge burden of shame for a long time. I've been very ashamed of this. I haven't wanted to talk about this because I don't want to bring shame to my family ever. And then I also don't want to be misunderstood in the public eye. But I think it's a really powerful and beautiful story that in the middle of my healing, in the middle of actually getting the help I needed and in recovery, I found beauty videos and they helped me.
Wow.
And I learned how feeling beautiful can be so empowering to how you feel psychologically that I'd watch your videos and I'd write little lists. And, I had this like really crappy little teeny tiny computer that smaller than an iPad. And I'd sit back and watch all the beauty videos. And that first year of sobriety, I continued, I got a job at a beauty supply. So like I was like back in the beauty thing.
Yeah.
I'd watch videos at night and, I'm staying sober um, and I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to make videos. I'm like, I'm going to be like those women. I'm going to do that.
Wow.
And that's really how
That was the call. There was a calling for you and you answered it.
yeah.
So like the early beginnings of you starting your channel, by the way, thank you so much. Like that's so incredibly powerful. I mean, I think the fact that just you opening up and sharing that part of your life, and I think a lot of people can relate to you because it's true. Like we're kind of told like at a certain age, you have to be at this stage in life and, like finish with college, have a career, have a partner and then get married. And I think in a way, like weirdly enough, it sets a lot of people up for failure because it's not always meant for us. And and I think it's so incredible that you had this self-awareness to know, okay, you know what, it's time for me to get help. That's amazing self-awareness that you have. And I'm so grateful that beauty in a way saved you because we have you now because of that. Like, had you have not have gone through this, Tati Westbrook on YouTube would have never existed.
I think about that all the time. All the time. Any trip, event, any cool thing that happens, and even falling in love with James, my husband. I think about these cool things that happened after, and I'm like, wow, I was ready to throw in the towel. Like I was done. I had no hope. I didn't see myself ever being able to get it together and being successful. I was so depressed, so anxious, and I just didn't know how life could get better, right? Now I have this amazing career that I was able to really pour so much focused effort into and be excited about, and it worked and it came to life. And I found myself in really extreme hurdles again. And, there's been some not so pleasant moments on YouTube.
Of course. Yeah.
I know that as long as you keep going, you're going to get to that next destination and you can't give up.
Yeah.
And so that's been a huge part of my perseverance. People are like, how do you deal with it? Like, how do you keep going? I'm like, you just put one foot in front of the other and you do it.
I love that about just how much you are able to just find the strength to just continue on because it's true. Like sometimes I know so many people, including myself, like I'm just done, like I'm over it and everything. But it seems like you have this amazing intuition within you that is this flame that keeps you inspired to continue on. And I'm so curious because as you're like developing your early era of YouTube, did you feel like you had to create a persona and kind of live up to that? Because I felt like I had to do that too. Like the persona I created was like, in a weird way, this persona, Michelle Phan on YouTube, is saving my life because she is someone that I need to continue being because she gives me hope to continue being a better person. I don't know if you went through that.
I love that so much. So like, let's drop all the bombshells. Right?
Okay.
Like, let's just
We love
do
that.
it. So I fully reinvented myself. Like the
Wow.
old me she had to,
It was an ego death.
like, I don't want to say like she had to die. Like,
No, it's an ego
some
death.
but yes, that happened. So growing up, my birth name is not Tati. It's Tanya, which is
What?
interchangeable for,
Okay.
Tatiana is something family has called
Okay,
me,
okay.
Tatiana, Tanya. Um, and when I would do, little acting that I did as a child, I did musical theater and I would use the name Tatiana. And just because I thought it was so pretty. But everyone growing up otherwise would call me Tanya. And that's the name my mom gave me when I went to rehab. The story of me being a little kid doing theater and using
Right.
the name Tatiana, you open up so quickly with these strangers. It's
Right.
really wild. They all started calling me Tati. And I'm
No
like,
way.
oh, okay,
Wow.
like I'm this new woman and this is a fresh start and the old me is gone. And this is real reinvention. And just the whole process of even getting ready in the morning was so important to me for my health
Oh, yeah.
and just becoming something more positive. So I fully, like, it's not that I'm pretending to be someone else. It's like I stepped into
Yep.
a fuller version of myself, in a new version of myself. And she even got a new name.
That's incredible. How? It's actually powerful that the people that you were sharing space with and you were vulnerable with, they
They
called you
helped
that.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Tati. Who would have thought? Tanya. Okay, Tanya, I guess you do look like a Tanya. Like, you know, some people, their names, they look like that. Yeah. But Tati is so unique and memorable that I think it's such an amazing rebrand if there was,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you. I don't know why I feel like let's just spill everything.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. Wait, have you ever shared this with the Wow, oh my gosh. This is amazing.
I've kept, for as public as I have been and as
Yeah.
much as I've shared, I've been able to keep a lot private.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mystery around you, but I think
Yeah.
it's good. It's better for people to want to know more about you than to just be sick and tired of you,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, I'm now at a point where I'm like, you know what? It's just, I don't even know why I'm holding it back. Like there was
Mm,
a time where I felt like I really needed to. And now I'm just like, I accept more of myself. So this is an even newer version of who I
mm,
am and where I'm headed, where it's what happened. And what's wrong with that? Like, this is my story
yeah.
and I'm okay with it.
And you are in charge of writing your story. You are the author of your story. I feel like a lot of people, they live a life where other people write their story for them.
Mhm.
And I was like that too. So I believe like when I went onto YouTube and I was creating this persona, it felt like for the first time in my life, I was finally writing my own story.
Mhm.
And I think it's so powerful to take ownership of your narrative because the moment you are the writer of your story, you're honoring your free will in a sense.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I love that for you. And so the early beginnings of YouTube, you're getting into it. You have the Tati um, other side of you that you're kind of like fully becoming into.
Yeah. It's just trying to be happy.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's therapy.
It is therapy. Like I would always tell people, I'm like, makeup is my meditation. And
It
like,
is.
what are you talking about? I'm like, I sit there for an hour and I paint my face
It's self love.
and I leave feeling better than when I started. And it's, I don't know, expressive and was fun. But yeah, she was, I look back now and I'm like, oof, like she was still very fragile. She was still like, I can see this like innocence,
Mhm.
like just so much of me trying to be happy. Like it was a
Mhm.
fight.
Yeah. It's I'm so curious as to like during the beginnings of your YouTube, um, just like during the beginnings, like the early stage of you forming your YouTube channel and becoming Tati and fully becoming her on the rise, like how are you? Because I know on my side, like the more popular I became, the more negative comments I was
Oh,
coming
yeah.
across. And I'm so curious how you were able to kind of navigate through a lot of the noise, a lot of the negative noise, especially as you were coming out of this, that no one knows about, you know?
no one knows about. So I'm like, hey, haters, like I've already hated myself well enough.
Mm.
Like anything that you find that you don't like about me, trust, I've already faced myself in the mirror and have thought similar things. So like you can't out dark my darkness.
Ooh.
And that was tough. Like I had no preparation that people online could be cruel, also super naive.
Yes.
I thought, oh my gosh, we're playing with makeup. It's so
Yeah.
fun. It was like, who would have a problem with this? And people did.
But I'm so curious, while you're on the rise, like when did you started seeing the traction and everything? When did you started seeing, wow, this is going to become a career for me?
I had on the wall a dry erase board that had every day of the week. And I would have all the videos that I would have to film that day and where I would have to go to shop for product and how I was going to do it. And it took over the room. So, like, my bedroom was the studio.
Yeah.
Was my life of filming every day. But really, that dedication is what got me to where I am. And I always tell people, something that is overlooked in the human experience a lot is consistency.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
showing up, even if you're not the greatest. I
Yeah.
look back and my videos were terrible.
Oh, yeah. I cringe all the time when I watch the old ones. Yeah.
It's really like there's a part of me that wants to just be like, delete, 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 because it is so bad. But how amazing for like former me, for this woman just trying to figure everything out on her own, to be so brave,
Yeah.
to put herself out there to the world, not having it figured out. And that's the other thing I try to cheer people on and say, hey, if you want some real advice, start before you're great. Be
I love
willing
that.
to embarrass yourself.
Embrace the
You're-
cringe.
Yes, embrace the cringe. You're going to figure it out as you go. And that's the greatest.
I love that. And I love that people can see the growth. It's because the shame, there's so much shame. And that's something I want to talk about like later, probably in another episode, how shame can dictate so much of our lives
Mhm.
and how much effort we put into hiding it when actually there's so much power in being vulnerable and honest and showing people that I'm real, just like
Yeah.
you know? So okay, you were doing 5 videos a week. That's crazy. I thought 2 videos a week was hard.
Right?
5 is insane.
I did that for 5 years.
That is incredible.
And the first 1,000 videos I edited myself.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're full time in LA, you're doing 5 videos a week. I'm assuming around this time, I remember this time, there were brands had a lot of budget and they were throwing so many different parties. You were probably going to these parties and everything and meeting people.
Mhm.
I'm so I know because I'm so bad at like going to these events and meeting people, but I'm so curious like how because it's kind of like high school. I feel like you're going into another high school where you have the popular kids and
Mhm.
the not so popular kids. I mean, you have everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's there. Like, how are you able to kind of navigate through making friends, and like forming meaningful relationships?
I always really wanted to. I don't know how successful I was at it or how realistic it was, because the business is competitive.
It is.
And
Yeah.
I definitely was very naive. I met some great people. I really did. There was a small era where I was hanging out with Fleur. She has her channel Fleur de Force,
Oh,
Ingrid, and Esclamorazzi. We did a girls trip to IMATS in New York, and I got to go over to IMATS London, and so there were like these cool, like I wouldn't call it clicky, but like there were real friends. Nikki Philippi was also kind of in that group.
a very talented group too.
Yeah, really talented, and everybody was just really hustling and focused, but not backstabbing or terrible to one another. Like I don't remember that being a huge part of the story. Were there people that spread rumors and played it like high school? Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
For sure. But there were some good times.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of just grows up and starts doing different things.
They have their life.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand. I'm just wondering, like, throughout this entire time as you're making friends and you're forming relationships, did you ever feel like they were using you or they were using you for clout? Or did it feel meaningful?
I mean, do we want to go there? Like, should we go there? Let's just Let's just drink this water. Let's just dive on it.
I mean, like, I can share. Okay, so I'm happy to share on my side. I think it's so crazy because when I'm hearing you speak, it's like, oh my gosh, we literally have parallel lives. Like what you experience, I experienced something like that, but just in my own way, right? And like you too, I had a lot of really cool friends that I made along the way. Most of them were net positive, but some of the friends that I did make that I truly thought had my back and they were hanging out with me in my house. Like when you come into my house, I have a partner. It's like you really get to know me, and I don't invite anyone into my home until I feel like there's trust, right? So I was naive to think like a lot of these people that were that close to me had my best interest at heart. It wasn't until later I found out through rumors and people coming out of the woodwork and finally telling me, hey, so and so said this about you. And it's like, wait, what? Like, this is someone I helped. I literally helped their career. I taught them. It's so insane. Like,
It is.
the feeling of,
Hurts so
yeah,
deeply. Like it's very different when that happens.
yeah. I was also like you, like so naive, thinking like I thought everyone was good at heart. Like I thought if you showed up and you were authentic and you were loving and you were honest and you were just, like open heart, you would receive the same thing. But I didn't know that there are people who, well, they have alternative motives and borderline, I don't want to psychoanalyze, but there's a lot of narcissistic tendencies. And I didn't know that that existed until way, way later after everything was burnt down and bridges were completely torched. And I'm so curious if you also went through that too.
Yes, many times. That's the wild thing is there's definitely been like an ebb and flow. So gosh, where do I start with this? So in the early days, it was really just like small stuff. Like someone didn't want to hang out with you at the party and it was like really just dumb, right? Like who cares? But then as things grew and it got more cutthroat, it really was a lot of people coming into your life to see who do you know that I can network with? What can I get out of this relationship? And that happened, absolutely. And something that I've never been able to really clear up because I've tried to let the past stay in the past, but hey, we're kind of digging up a bunch of stuff right now. So, back in the day, I did help James Charles quite a bit. And I think that there's been a big misconception that I somehow pursued the relationship with him. He was 17. He didn't have an established channel. He was the one hitting up me in my DMs. We met the first time at Generation Beauty in New York.
Oh my gosh.
In the green room. And he was like, oh my gosh, I love your channel. Like, let's hang out in LA. And it was him pursuing me. So a lot of people have felt that I somehow was pursuing him for a benefit. And that was a weird part of the story. During that time, like my channel was growing. There were a lot of people coming at me that wanted to suddenly be my friend. And that was really bizarre. I had been through cycles of drama, kind of kept to my own. If you're filming every day of the week, you don't have a lot of time for all of these relationships, It's true. So I'd work a lot. And then the other relationship that kind of came to me that wasn't what I pursued, just to clear things up, is Jeffree Star. So how I met him the first time was I had a lunch set up with Laura Lee, and we were going to Cheesecake Factory and just going to kind of hang out and get to know each other a little bit better. And literally like 15 minutes before the lunch, she calls me and is like, hey, just heads up, Jeffree's coming. And at the time, like he was killing it, right? Like he was amazing and growing. And also he was totally terrifying. And so I was just like, oh no, like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of an idiot and I'm kind of like this innocent, like boring, like my channel's boring. Like I'm kind of boring. Like this is going to be wild. Like, why does he want to meet me? Why does he want to go to lunch with me? Like, this is crazy. Because we're definitely an odd pairing, right? So we all went to lunch and it blew my mind. And this is something I'll say to his credit. We sat down and he had told me that he had heard through the rumor mill that someone had been spreading some pretty nasty rumors about me. And that he didn't judge people until he got to know them. And then Laura was like, yeah, I heard the same rumor. And Manny knows about this and Patrick knows about this. And I'm like, well, I have like 5 girlfriends that have told me the same story. So this person is clearly spreading a lot of lies. And that was upsetting, but also like bonded us in that instant. I was like, oh my gosh, like the person that maybe I had judged that I thought was really scary in front of me was so cool, intelligent, charismatic. Like I immediately liked him a lot. And I was like, that's so awesome that you're not going to listen to a rumor and you want to get to know me. Like, okay, we're really different, but like, let's get to know each other. And that's how that friendship started.
Wow.
So I never pursued anyone that I ended up in big.
Yeah, you're doing 5 videos a week. You don't have time to pursue.
No. So they
Okay.
kind of, pursued the friendship and it was exciting, blew up in my face, but, and even I wouldn't call it a friendship with Shane, but he pursued me too. So it was like, I look back at my life and I'm like, wow, like I was my own little island and like, how did this happen? But it happened.
Yeah. I mean, since we're on that topic, I remember that just broke the internet. That whole era
did.
Okay, first off, I have to give you so much props. You are so brave for just speaking truth like that, because there's been so many times I wanted to do a my truth video and I'm like, not ready. I don't want to do this because I know the repercussions.
Mhm.
Like I know like the attacks and everything. And so I'm so curious as to like how are you feeling on the lead up to that? Like it's not like something that just I woke up and I'm just going to do this. Like something, it was probably boiling for a long time,
Are you
right?
talking about Bi Sister or
Just leading up to all of that.
leading up to all
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Because I know it's not an overnight thing doing something
I
like
need
that.
more therapy for this, It's still like it's been 5 years, about 5 years, since the infamous birthday party dinner. Which I haven't celebrated a birthday in 5 years. That's something that
Are you serious?
that's like on the shelf. Yeah, like that was the last birthday party I had, and it was horrific. Um, and changed my life. And I have to accept. Here's the thing. I can't go in a time machine and like, oh, I wish that dinner had never happened. Like I can't undo what happened. But that was the catalyst for everything moving forward. We all know what Bi Sister was about.
Mhm.
Did I think it would blow into what it was? Did I have the capacity to have
Yeah.
50 million views on a video? No.
That's
Me?
crazy.
No. Like a couple million, and we've broken up and we're done, and I don't associate with him anymore, and we're done. Like that's really where I was at. I felt like I had to make that video, but I had a lot of noise in my ear, um, and a lot of powerful people bringing information to me, and it happened. I was really distraught over the information. It was very triggering to me. Um, I've had to overcome some pretty significant trauma in my life, and it triggered every part of me, the information that I was hearing. And a lot of people want to say, like, well, why didn't you go to the police? Why didn't you? Like, if things are of that nature and they're not affecting you directly, you can't. I felt like I needed to cut ties publicly. I didn't like how he was behaving. I was very clear about that. Um, Looking back, were a lot of things fed to me that I don't know were true. Yeah. If you hear that YouTube executives are going to be deplatforming someone, and you should definitely make sure that you keep your distance because this is happening and it could take you down too. Like, yeah, you're going to like lose a little sleep over that,
Gosh.
So there was a lot of energy at play, and um I can't explain it further than I felt like I had to make that video.
Yeah.
I had to. And the weirdest thing happened right before I filmed that video. And it was honestly, it still just makes me go, oh my gosh. So I sat down and, I don't script my videos. So I was just like, I just got to talk to camera. And I have my assistant in the studio with me, and we hear this incredible thud on the glass.
Who here is a coffee lover? I know I am because I'm Vietnamese and we love our coffee. At Cato's Coffee, they believe every morning should start with a fresh cup of coffee that makes you feel good inside and out. Cato's premium beans are roasted to order. But that's not all, because when you choose Cato's Coffee, you're supporting a company that's as passionate about our planet and our pets as much as you are. Cato's Coffee has made it their mission to give back a portion of their profits to local animal shelters and the environment. And their expertly roasted beans offer a variety of flavor profiles that'll satisfy any coffee lover's palate. And if coffee's not your thing, no worries. They've got you covered with a curated selection of smooth, aromatic, loose-leaf teas. Plus, their K-Cups whole bean bags and a variety of grinds that make it easy to enjoy Cato's Coffee your way. And let's not forget about Cato, the CEO's beloved bull terrier who inspired it all. Cato's journey reflects the brand's dedication to making a positive impact. So, make your mornings matter with Cato's Coffee. Visit www.catoscoffee, KATOSKOFFEE.com. And don't forget to use the code Afterglow for 5% off your order. All right, so go ahead and discover your favorite new brew today.
The weirdest thing happened right before I filmed that video. And it was honestly, it still just makes me go, oh my gosh. So I sat down and, I don't script my videos. So it's just like, I just got to talk to camera. And I have my assistant in the studio with me, and we hear this incredible thud on the glass. And she's like, this is a bad omen. This is a bad idea.
Was it a bird?
It was a bird. It was a sparrow. And so I go outside and I see this bird, and this bird is like shaking on the ground. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this a sign? Like, what am I doing? And the bird got up and flew away. And I remember I looked at James and I'm like, this is going to near kill me, but I have to make this video. But I'll be okay. And so I marched back inside and sat down, and, the rest is history.
Wow. 50 million views?
Yeah.
That is so insane. Oh my gosh. So you uploaded the video, and did you go in reading the comments? Do you decide, okay, I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to close my laptop and walk away and do my life?
Yeah.
What was the aftermath of that entire?
I laid in bed. I love that for you. I could not believe that this happened. Like, I know people will say, like, you chose to sat down, you did this, like, you had a choice, and I did, and I made that choice.
But it did seem like you were, I don't want to speak for you, but it just based on what you're telling me, it seemed like there was some sort of manipulation into you creating it.
It felt like that.
Yeah.
And, it still does. None of it makes any sense.
Because it's not you. I've been watching your videos for so long. Like, you're not the type to get into drama. Like, you're very family friendly, wholesome, like real. And no, I'm just keeping it real too. Like, real recognizes real. And when that came out, I'm like, I remember thinking, this is not Tati. Like, did something happen? Like, man, why would she post this? It just seemed really out of character.
The information that I had felt really upsetting. And, James Charles referred to me publicly as mom, like, hey, mom, like, and like, we're besties. And like, I felt tied to him in this industry. And I wanted to untie that. And I felt like I needed to do it publicly. And I can't make sense of why I felt so deeply. Was there a lot of manipulation at hand? Yeah, tons. And I've kept my mouth shut. And I felt that was the best path for me. And, that first week after, like, YouTube was not happy with me. Like, they're like, oh my God, they were not happy with me.
Really?
No, it was, the behind the scenes was rough. I took a little bit of time, like not a significant amount of time, couple weeks to kind of dust myself off. I'd made that second video kind of being like, wow, guys, this has really gone out of control. Like, I said what I said, but this doesn't mean that people need to go out there and like, hunt him down and be so nasty. Like, I didn't think it would turn into what it turned into. It was a full-blown circus. So, Yeah. I, for a while, really regretted making that video. What people, I think, don't understand, like, even when I did, I think it was like a year later, because everything had been kicked up again and I was being blamed again for so much. And I'm like, this is making me crazy. Like, I really feel like I need to speak my side. When I made that video, that last video about this situation, I never said, hey, none of these allegations are true. Like, what I regretted was that it blew up into this big circus, that I took things publicly that I should have taken privately, that I should have investigated more thoroughly instead of trusting people that were close to me. I had regrets over all of those things, but I never said, "Hey, and it was all a lie and none of it happened." Like, I never did that, and that was the story that then took off, which was just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, you can't control it's like
Mhm.
wildfire. You really can't control stuff like that
Yeah.
afterwards. You can only speak your truth
Yeah.
from that point. And that's what you were trying to do
Yeah.
when you're making these other videos to clear it up.
I was trying to clear it up.
Yeah, but then
It didn't get cleared up. Yeah, it just brought on more, so it kinda gets to a point where it's like, well, should you ever speak your truth? And that gets really tricky because now I'm in a place where I want to speak as much truth as I can, but let go of the outcome and let go of what people say. And if people are like, wow, you are crazy, I'm like, well, good thing you're not living with me. Like, if you feel that way, like, I'm in my skin, I'm in my life, and I need to focus on that. So accept me or don't. And that's kind of where I'm at.
yeah. So interesting because I feel like sometimes being a public figure, you're putting yourself out there and everyone you can give someone the same book. If you read it and I read it, we have two different experiences. And oftentimes that's how it is. There's always another side to the story. But sometimes you have to kind of accept that you might be a villain in someone else's story.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't change that. You can't try to go in and force the narrative to change for you. It's you have to detach from that if you want to live a life where you have sanity.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
for sure.
yeah, like honestly, thank you for sharing that. And I know that I just knew when all of this was happening that my intuition, because I lean into my intuition a lot. My intuition was telling me, I don't know, this is not Tati, and but I was so impressed with how you gracefully moved through this entire thing because I've never gone through anything like that. I've gone through a lot, but not like a public um like having friendship like that and just publicly breaking up with your friends like that publicly. I've never gone through anything like that. So I commend your bravery on that.
Thank you.
Honestly, like, wow.
Thank you. It's been wild. I've learned a lot, and I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I handled everything perfectly, but there was a point where I was like, I've got to let go.
Yeah.
And it feels so much better to be in that space now where I'm not so micromanaging it. Like, it's been 5 years since that birthday
ago.
dinner. It feels like a lifetime ago. Do I feel like people still have a lot of that situation wrong? Yeah, absolutely. But I also know that I'm not here to create more damage. And I think that some things are better handled in real life. And I think that's the one thing that I wish I would have done is not bow to so much fear and handle things in real life because I was worried for my career. I was kind of in a bad place any which way you spin it, you know?
How are you able to continue creating after going through so many like episodes of I don't want to call it setbacks, but just challenges like this conflict? Because you seem like a very peaceful, you want to make sure everyone's chill, everyone's good. You want to just focus on you and
Mhm.
work on yourself. Yet people want to come into your life and they want to be your friends. They want to unfortunately sometimes use you as a ladder. Like, how are you still able to find strength to just continue creating? Because I know how hard it is when you're creating out of a deficit. It's almost impossible to, but I just was so blown away by your perseverance. Like, you were still going and going and going. And I'd love to learn how you were able to, like, what did you do during that time and who was there to help you?
You know, after that second video, I had already been through a lot. like I had already been through the drama wheel. I felt like I needed a little bit of time. But I love making videos. So I kind of always feel like, whatever happens, I'm going to get back to playing with makeup and making videos. And I'm kind of on my own island and I don't really need, I don't want to say I don't need community, but it's like if I have to be alone for a time, okay, like I'm fine with that. I can create. And so I was going to just hop back into beauty videos after that last, what was the title of it? It was like Breaking My Silence or something like that. Um, and I had, James was around me. We actually had planned on moving to Hawaii. My audience doesn't know that either. We had put an offer in on a home in Lahaina. James's mom lived in Hawaii before she passed. So we spent a lot of time there. We got married on
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was setting up a new studio, like had my stuff ready to go back to filming. So it's kind of funny. You're like, how did you persevere? And it's like, really, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. Like, if anything, that's a great takeaway from going through rehab and walking a sober life is to really take things a day at a time. Yeah, right? Just focus on the day and evaluate what went wrong, where could I do better, how can I be more resilient and strengthen myself? Don't look at everything that's going on because that will make you crazy, but you can handle the day. So I did a lot of that, and I was ready to kind of get back to YouTube. And then it's like, but wait, there's more. And then uh, a minority partner in Halo Beauty, Clark Swanson, sent a demand letter threatening to file a lawsuit if we didn't give him $30 million, a third of Tati Beauty. What else did he want? $30 million,
More. There's more.
a third of Tati Beauty, and all of Halo Beauty. So it's like, give me this or I'm going to file a lawsuit.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't have $30 million. Like, I mean, lawsuits are kind of funny like that, like it. So it was pretty major. That kind of took me out emotionally more than any of the other drama. Like, that was big. He was a friend of ours, and this was going to be public, and it is public and nasty, and it has become nasty. And that was the real reason that I had to stay offline for the time that I did. That hiatus of, it was like 10 months. I
Yeah.
think I was gone. Yeah.
Tatu.
Yeah.
Girl.
I'm stronger than ever.
You are. I know. You're just really like trial by fire, like steel. You're just folding and folding and becoming stronger and stronger. But I mean, like, who was there for you? Like, besides James, of course.
Well, James wasn't there the whole time because we broke up for a brief time. We were headed toward divorce. I mean, if you can imagine, that was a close friend of his. And it's like, this person who's your friend is creating this drama in our life and trying to um, take things that I've built. And it was really tough. So there was a time, long story short, we didn't close on the house in Lahaina. We left Hawaii. And James and I split for a time, and my family's still in Washington. So I stayed up there. He was out of the picture for a time, and this was still during pretty significant restrictions with COVID. So there was like 3 months where I didn't see anyone. I was literally alone, no James, no family, no friends, alone, no YouTube, dealing with this crazy catastrophe. It was wild.
I'm so sorry.
That's truly the darkest point of my life. Out of all of the wild that I've been through, that segment of time was the darkest, but I also grew the most. I became so reinforced, self-reliant. I knew that I could survive in this world without anyone, that I would actually be okay, that I know how to take care of myself. And so a really interesting resilience was built during that time, and a lot of healing, a lot of deepening with my faith, a lot of conversations with God.
Amen.
and just a lot of stillness. Like that time, I unplugged everything. Like I
Wow.
could not watch TV, listen to music, interact on social. I really took my time to kind of still. I was showing up still for what I was responsible for,
Of
in
course.
regards with Halo Beauty. Like that was still alive and well, but I was off YouTube. Um,
And that's a machine.
yeah,
That YouTube is a machine. People don't realize it, that it is already being a YouTuber is a full-time job. And then you have Halo and you had all these other things. And to stop that, it must have given you so much time to
no,
go through this healing process.
yeah, for sure. So it was good in a way. I always tell people it was like 50% beautiful, magnificent. Like, thank you, God, for that time. Thank you for, like literally praise Him in the storm, like, because it was a storm. And, I feel this intense gratitude, but it was also horrifying. Like 50% amazing, 50% horrifying, deep betrayal from a friend. And I had this feeling that he was feeding information to drama channels, and I had to go through separate litigation to really uncover where a particular leak was happening, where information about the company and about myself was getting in the hands of people where it didn't make sense. I'm like, where is this leak coming from? This feels like a real rich public humiliation. Like I have to find out what's going on before I can even think of going back to YouTube. So that was really the cause of my time off.
Did you have any publicists or anyone else like helping you? It was just you.
I still don't have a publicist. I
Wow.
don't have a manager. I don't have an agent. I'm just doing that like on my own.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. You inspire me, Tati, honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly, wow.
Thank you. It's not over yet. I'm
Yeah.
going to be on trial in August.
I'll be there for you to
Oh my
support you.
gosh. But
I know what it's like being in trial like that.
yeah, it's
Just speak from your heart.
I'm going to, and I'm learning now more than ever, like from the mistakes that I've made, dating back to my early 20s. Like I've learned so much. And I think the biggest like spiritual awakening, if you will, like the number one thing that happened to me during that time out was radical accountability and an intense, like non-negotiable desire to be truthful, even if it hurt people, even if it put me in a disadvantage. And I'm talking like white lies. Like my inner monologue changed. And like if I was even bullying myself, I'd be like, but is this true?
Yeah.
Like, is this real? No. And I start holding myself accountable. And like my brain changed during this particular season. And, so whatever's happening for anyone, whatever bad thing is happening, there's always something good right
Silver
underneath
lining.
it. Yeah.
You have to, I think the perspective has to be like, instead of seeing the bad, you have to see the opportunity to change, because you can't change when everything is nice. When everything is great, it's kind of hard to
Like,
change.
hey, let's go shopping.
Exactly. But when things are not going according to plan, and when you're going through your flop era, whatever you want to call it, I really believe, one, it humbles you, and two, it's an invitation to change, because it is the unknown.
Mhm.
It's something you didn't plan for. No one plans to fail, honestly. Everyone plans to succeed. Everyone has a plan of this and that. And I think when it doesn't happen, and I think what's interesting is that you are alone. And I believe when you are alone like that, you don't have your support or anything, it's an ego death. Like you went through another ego death.
How many times have I died at this? I don't know. Like,
They
it's
like
pretty wild.
4 so far that I counted.
I will say this, something that's really beautiful and felt totally supernatural to me. I during this time, and this is like a big like I admit through my sobriety walk, like there has been temptation and that escape being like right there and so socially acceptable. Like I would kind of get a little bit bitter and be like, oh, it must be nice. Like, I can't do that, but oh, it sure looks good. And there would be just this kind of struggle that would come in and out. And of course, would be exaggerated if I was going through any trauma. Like anyone that's dealt with addiction knows that you go through some major life crisis And you feel like you have this big excuse of like, "Oh, I'm just going to go grab that bottle and I'm going to numb this pain." And something that happened during this time where I was away from James and everyone, and kind of in that 3 months period where I was trying to figure out what was going on with this litigation, I had such intense prayer time. You could call it meditation, you could call it whatever you want, but just this connection with my creator. And what was lifted off of me felt so permanent. I had no desire to drink or use. And this is in like the most painful chapter of my life.
Wow.
Right? Like I'm literally talking to divorce attorneys, like everything's on its head. Everything I built, like the finish line was like right there. We're going to live in a beautiful home in Hawaii. I'm going to make videos. We're going to escape the drama. We're going to start a family because I've wanted to be a mom forever. And that's, really tough that didn't happen. But I lost everything overnight, it felt. But there was this presence with me that alleviated a lot of the pain that had still somehow been clinging on. So I had this beautiful, I don't know if you call it a release, but undoing of something that had kind of been around my ankle my whole life. And that's something really cool to come through as well, to be like, hey, like, check the box. I did that. I went through this horrific time and I stayed sober. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah. You went through the 40 days, 40 nights of the darkness.
Like,
You were tested. You were definitely
felt like
tested. That's what it felt like to me. I think I'm so blown away by your strength, honestly.
Thank
Like
you.
that, to me, it's testimony of resilience, and also you letting go of these energy attachments that were holding you down. That's what it feels like. And um, because like, if I were to put myself in your shoes, I would for sure cave. Like knowing that, like, and there's been times even on my end, like I was done. I was done with everything. And it's so crazy when you are at the lowest point. In my experience, this is where God comes in.
Oh, yeah.
In a strange way, like, okay, then maybe I'll stay because maybe it seems like there's purpose for me here. And it's so personal. Like some people might not believe it because it is so personal.
Yeah.
Like only you can experience that presence.
Yeah.
And it seems like you had a presence like that.
There was some, I mean, I've kind of alluded to this a little bit on my channel, but there was some wild stuff going on. Like we're talking paranormal activity and like, what the heck is happening? It was definitely, there's a heavy charge. It was a really intense period of time and really opened myself up to pursuing God and pursuing a deeper meaning in life and trying to understand truly what it means to go inward, the idea that the kingdom is within. I think that's real.
It is.
I think that's where we find what already exists. And I'm curious if you vibe with this or not. Like this is something I've been talking about recently, and a lot of my friends are like, "What? Like you're being so weird again." Like, "Oh my gosh." But I always think that we have all these amazing feelings, creativity, like beautiful things living within us. And sometimes it's an experience, sometimes it's a person that brings these emotions out. But it's really cool to step back and be like, but that person isn't experiencing the same beautiful emotion that you are. It already was built in you, it's already there. So if you can remember that when you're freaking out and you're going through something terrible, you're like, I don't know how to be still. I don't know how to do this. Yes, you do. Those feelings already live inside of you. That feeling of love, whether it's for a family member or a new romance, like that beautiful feeling of love, that's your feeling. Like it's already built in you. Like learn to access it by setting some things that you might be attached to down.
Yep.
And you can flow with that feeling. And that has helped me so much. Like I feel a kind of strength that I never knew was possible. And it's really great. And I haven't stopped the journey. Like I'm continuing to pursue, if we want to like throw the Bible in the mix, God says, seek me and you'll find me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm seeking. And it might not look the same as a lot of people would want it to, as far as what religion looks like sometimes, because I don't align with everything, but I align with seeking, and that
Yeah.
has brought me a lot of
It's so
peace.
personal. The spiritual journey is so personal. We're not all, it's not a one size fits all. I mean, we
No.
clearly see it with so many different religions, but I think the destination is the same place. We all go back to source, which is love.
Mhm.
It's just pure love, this energy, this intelligent, beautiful, creative energy that is within all of us. And sadly, I think the world that we live in today, it it blocks access, it blocks our access to this love. It creates, the society tells women to compete against each other, and like the world that we live, this matrix world that we live in. But I feel like these are all tests, like if it was so easy, then everyone would become enlightened. But there's a reason why we're here.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we're being tested like this. And I think having your platform and sharing this is so powerful, because I believe a lot of people who watch us and our viewers, they are going through the same exact thing, which is a different version of it.
There's
Right?
these themes
Yeah.
exist in so many of our stories,
Yeah.
whatever we do for a job. And, you know, I've had to overcome them publicly. So have you.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. I mean, this is amazing. This is going to inspire so many people, because I really do believe a lot of people think we have our shit together. And then they're like, oh my gosh, they're just like me, but they only portray the nicer part. And I'm being inspired more to show my shame. Like, I want to share, like, I want to, because I don't have it together. I struggle a lot with myself and my own ego. I don't think I should kill my ego. I think there's a reason why we're meant to have an ego. The ego is the very thing that gets you to move away from the ledge. There's a reason why we're here in this matrix world. It's not just there's meaning in everything. And I believe we're here to find that meaning. And I think it's so incredible. And I feel like there's this new era for Tati, like this, we know about the outer beauty, but then there seems like there's this inner beauty era, right? That
Thanks.
I would love to see more of, because I feel like as I'm getting older, I'll always love beauty. I'll always love
Yes.
that part. That's always going to be part of my identity. But there's so much more that I want to explore in the spiritual consciousness space. And this is something that I want to talk more about on
I
my
love
channel.
that. It's interesting.
It is.
And I don't think a lot of people are interested in it.
Yeah.
You know?
So we've gone through this crazy hero's journey. We're not done with it yet. You're not done with it yet.
Done.
But I just know that there is you coming back home, changed and transformed. That's on the horizon. I'm so curious as to, like, as you're going through your moment of slaying the dragon and everything, because you're still making content. I saw the Tati list, and I would love to know more about, like, what is Tati list? Is she coming back with something new and exciting?
The Tati list. This is something I wanted to do for a while. I just didn't know how to, and technology wasn't up to speed, and now it is. So I have, this is going to be a little like a little techie for a moment, but I got a short code to be able to reach my audience through SMS. And that takes time. It's nothing that you flip a switch overnight. So that was a whole, how do we do this? How can I connect with my audience more intimately without relying on any one platform? Like, if all of it fell away, could I still connect with my audience? Let me figure out how to do that so that I can do this forever. So figured out how to do it, and we've been building this, and I want it to be many different things, not just one things. I want to do meetups. I want to do events. I am going to be sending, mass gifting out to select winners, and it's going to be a pretty robust, I guess you could call it a club.
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah, it
it's
is.
the Tati list. It's just a place for all of my audience to participate in many different cool things. And as we grow, maybe I do build out a separate space. I've had an app in the past, and that was really fun. But again, I don't think that technology was advanced enough at the time. But who knows?
I mean, there's so much on the horizon with, like, AI. Like, what I'm seeing in the coding spaces, you can build an app just using AI alone. So give it a year or two, and you might just be able to build a crazy super app on your own.
Maybe.
Honestly.
Maybe.
Well, knowing you were learning how to like edit and everything along the way.
That's if you're inspired by something, I say always explore it at minimum. And if you're good at it, then that's the sign to, you know, pursue it and do the work. So where this is headed, not entirely sure, but right now we're having fun with giveaways and doing things in real life and just having that better connection with my audience. And it's free to join, doesn't cost anybody anything, and it's just a better way to connect the community.
Do you feel like you can be more authentic in yourself? And
This is the goal, right? This is the goal. I'm like, I want to be unrestricted. I want to say what I want to say. And, you know, I'm always going to be team YouTube. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I had to make my career what it has become. Like without YouTube, I wouldn't have this. So I'm always going to be like, thank you so much, YouTube. But there have been limitations, and limiting access with audience is a concern. And, you know, platform is changing.
it is. Yeah,
So,
it's definitely changing. And I love that you're just taking it into your own hands. And
mhm.
I think it's going to be exciting. Just people want to follow your growth and your journey. And me too. Like, I want to see where Tati's going and I want to
Thank
go where
you.
she's going to.
Thank you so
Yeah, I'm going to
much.
sign up for this list.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This is so amazing.
I'm down to do like a joint meetup with you. Like,
Yes.
honestly.
Oh my gosh, let's
Yeah,
do it. That would be
seriously.
so cool.
Because I feel like we live like we're obviously two different people, but we have so many similar parallel things that has happened
Yes.
to us, and we've overcome them eerily similarly.
Yes.
You know, because I could be petty. I could have been really, I'm Aries, you know, I could be really petty if I wanted to, but then there was this inner voice, and I know it's God saying, be gentle, be kind, and be
Mhm.
light no matter what. And I love that you were also walking that path too.
Mhm.
I know that it's a longer path, you know,
Mhm.
it's a longer path doing the right thing and having integrity, living life with integrity. But I just know in the end it pays off because I do believe in karma.
Mhm.
I do believe when we leave this world, we want to leave with a lighter heart and not have it so heavy with like resentment and anger and all of that.
Yeah.
So
I agree wholeheartedly. I will share with you, this is like in the final note of, of all of this um, lessons in life. So I believe what goes around comes around for sure. However, something that I discovered within myself during many of these ups and downs, and that I try to share with people just almost to reinforce in myself, is when we're talking about karma and observing it, and that someone will get theirs, that you make sure to take your hand off the wheel, because the moment that you're wishing ill on a person is the moment that you've picked that back up yourself.
that is karma.
So let it go. And it's taken me some time to just, even in my inner monologue, even in my inner self, like, because we think these thoughts and like no one knows. You could be like, nah, like, I hope they get theirs. To really pay attention to that voice and to actually start to like loosening the grip of that toxicity, because once you let it go, it feels so good. It really feels good, and you feel like, gosh,
And it's you
weren't
see
we
it in
all
your
doing this,
face
you
too.
know?
I notice
Yes,
like I look better after I
yes,
let go of the heaviness,
totally.
right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
literally glowing.
No,
It's insane.
it's you can see it in people's eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the eyes don't lie.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, thank you so much, Tati.
Thank you for
And
having
thank
me.
you everyone for watching. I'll see you on the next video.